Ball or Nothing is filmed on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to all First Nations people, as well as elders past, present, and emerging. What's up? We're back. It's Ball or Nothing.
Oh!
I'm your host, Jody Robertson, with me, as always, my two good friends, Jasper Grover and Edward Dunstan.
Howdy. Ed, you got to speak. It's an audio program.
Sorry, just my delightful country internet delayed what you just said. Anyway, scratch that. Edit it out.
Round 2 has just been and gone.
Yeah.
Good weekend of footy.
We know a little bit more.
Round 2,
We
week
know
3.
a little bit more. Yeah.
We do.
And then Easter long weekend footy, non-stop footy for 4 or 5 days coming up. So I'm happy
Really?
with
I
that.
don't actually know that.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 5 straight
that
days.
adds up.
I mean, that
It's
surprises
beautiful.
me, Jazz. As you, as a Hawthorn supporter, have been going to the Easter Monday clash for ages. Do you just not pay attention to any other games of football that take place outside of your own team, or?
Well, it's the best and worst thing about it is that, you know, if your team wins on a Friday or a Thursday, then that makes your whole week or your weekend. If your team loses, then you can focus on other games and then just kind of put that by the wayside. But the last game of the round on a Monday, you know, if you lose, then that's your whole week is just off to an awful start. But if you win, especially against Geelong, then you're off to a flyer.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen this week, so we don't have to worry about that.
Can we start there? This is just on the fly. Thursday night football. The 0-2 Brisbane Lions take on the 0-3 Collingwood Magpies in a grand final rematch. How crazy is that going into week 4? One of those teams is going to be.
I mean, it was the first time ever that both teams had started 0-2. Both grand finalists had started 0-2. So it's going to be the first time ever that both teams are going into a grand final rematch winless, if it's not week 1 at least. So 12th versus 15th for the grand finalists. Who's going to win?
We are very early in the season. They could turn around for both. We've never had a round 0, right? So maybe that.
I mean, Geelong were 0-3 last year as well, and they didn't end up. They still had a purple patch midway through the year, and that wasn't enough to call them back after a poor start.
Yeah. Well, we will get into that one, and I'll start here with my top 5 moments from the round just gone. It was an exciting round of football. My number 5, Ed, this will bear some relevance to you. Moment was so Jasper and I were sitting at the pub on Saturday night, and we're watching the Bombers and the Swans, and they're getting really like handsy, really jarry. A lot of fisticuffs are going on. And out of nowhere is this runner just running through the pack, trying to tell the Bombers boys to calm down. It is Travis Cloak running through the pack to try and settle his boys down. Is he allowed to do that?
I think he had a brain fade or something. He thought he was.
He thought he was a player.
Oh no, I thought he was at like a country footy game, and there was some dads getting into a fight after a bunch of beers or something over a free kick. Like. It was so wild.
You settle down.
Yeah, it was so wild. Like
it was most fiery.
Well, he was obviously. I mean, this is Travis Cloak, who was famously said there's smoke and shadows behind the windows. He was. He's not the smartest tool in the shed, I don't think.
He was our. I think our VFL coach last year. So now it seems he's been downgraded to a runner.
Yeah, is that a demotion down to runner?
I reckon. I think a VFL coach
to a runner.
Yeah, that's a fair big. That's like manager down to janitor, but like.
Janitor's catching strays.
Yes, apologies to all the janitor.
As Matt Damon says, it's a noble job.
Yeah.
In Goodwill Hunting. What I will say from the game, so both teams score over 100 points. I saw a Swamp stat that it was like the 10th time in the last 10 years that a team has scored 100 points and still lost. But I did see also that 4 or 5 of those 10 were held by Essendon alone, as opposed to any other team. So
it doesn't surprise me. This is an experience I've had many times watching Essendon score 100 points and yet still lose. And
I mean, if you're going to lose, at least be entertaining when you lose and score 100.
That is what Essendon supporters have been told for a long time. So
I mean, the Hawks scored 38 points, so I know which one I'd rather be on the receiving end of.
Yeah, true.
Obviously, because you hate goals being scored, you want the lower score, correct?
Well, we hate kicking goals. We love goals being scored against us, apparently.
Yeah. Yes,
I'm glad I think my camera has frozen on this face. This is quite a nice little.
You are very, very happy, John. That's just like
better.
I thought you were just doing ventriloquism or whatever.
You're a picture of positivity in that.
The smiliest I've ever been. Happiest I've been in a long time.
Yes, yeah. But with Essendon,
go.
I was just gonna say, I was proud of my boys. You know, they brought the fire, and I think Essendon bring an aggressive and intimidating team. I'd rather be that than the meek foldovers we have been for such a long time. So, I think hopefully we rein it in so we don't have our entire team suspended. But I liked it. I thought it was kind of exciting. So what were your non-Essendon thoughts about this?
Zach Merritt, 32 disposals, as usual. Jake Stringer, 3 goals in the end, so definitely needed those. You know who's been playing really well that impressed me was, is it Archie Perkins?
Mm-hmm.
Has been playing well, and Andrew McGrath has been playing really well in the backfield as well. So I was impressed to see that. The problem with the Bombers, I feel like, is if it was any other team, they probably would have won this game, but the Swans are just so dominant at the moment. Like Isaac Heaney, 32 disposals, 8 clearances and a goal. He's been playing insane football. Papley kicked 4 goals and 24 disposals. Errol Goulden's playing really well. They just sort of seem to have dudes everywhere.
Yeah, they're a slick team. I'm so... I feel like I'm worried that it's going to be a Sydney grand final at this point. Obviously, it's so early; it's probably not going to be that. But like, it could happen.
How good would that be, though? 5th grand final and loss for Sydney Swans would be pretty great.
That would be great. That would be so good. Yeah. Screw Sydney. I mean, how much support would GWS get being the non Sydney team?
How many? It's kind of weird how many grand finals they've lost, and it's not like they haven't really choked them outside of maybe 2014, but 2016. I mean, that's 2016's back in the news against.
We beat them by nearly 100 points.
Well, yeah, okay, there you go. All right, so they've choked 2 out of their losses, but 2016 is back in the news after who was it? Dan Hanbury was commenting about some of the calls that they didn't get in the 2016 grand final.
Really? Right.
Yeah, so I feel like one more grand final loss, and then Longmire might have a bit of a choker label put against him.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Longmire can't handle the heat, according to Jasper Grover.
He lucked into 2012. The Hawks choked that one away, and then Longmire just can't get it back.
Yeah. Nice.
As far as the 2 incidents go, so the lesser one was who's your really tall guy? Bloody hell.
Peter Wright.
Completely. Peter Wright?
No. Yeah, sorry. He is the really tall guy. I'm actually thinking of your other really tall guy. Sam Draper. Bloody hell. There it is. He did a little running into the back, but apparently that was in retaliation to something from earlier. But so Peter Wright has copped a 4-game suspension, and they have accepted it. The Bombers have accepted it.
Is Sam Draper ever going to grow out of his newborn foal phase? He always looks like a very young horse just galloping around. Doesn't quite have full mobility of his extremities, and just kind of he's an athletic.
I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this, Jazz, but he has a soccer background.
Right.
They only mentioned it, I think, about 10 times across the. So you might have missed it, but he does have a soccer background, and they all talk about athleticism, and yes, he does look a bit. How would you describe it? Like gangly, but but he's also a massive dude, and he takes marks. I don't know whether you guys got the same type person in your team, but he just kind of like makes things happen. Like even if he's maybe skill wise, I feel like he looks a bit weird, but he seems to just like generate like either clearances or like I don't know. He just like influences the contest all the time. I think every
every team needs that kind of player, just who other players get inspired or they see what those kinds of players can do, and they put in the extra effort as well.
And it's like, and I think it's that, but it's also because he's a big guy. I feel like everyone can see him. He makes a big impact on a contest, and he can like crash packs. And
I don't mean to step on rules of the world, but are you saying like the more flashy you are, the more noticeable you are on the field, the more impact you might have?
If you
get if you do like a Dennis Rodman from the 90s, like you get like a purple and green mohawk or something, and then you make an impact out of the field.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is obviously another conversation, but brand in the AFL, right? Like, you need to build your brand, and on the field and off it. So,
that's very true.
Take note from Sam Draper.
So, just to get back to Peter Wright and the 4-game suspension, and Essendon accepted it. Are we happy with this?
Look, I guess I was initially, when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's just like an unfortunate incident. But I guess they don't want people. They don't want people getting knocked out and stuff. So he should probably have been a little bit more mindful of the fact that he's like much, much bigger than that dude and crushed his head. So
you think though? I think it was just a really like standard sort of play. Like he was clearly going for the ball, and then at the last second, kind of just was like, "Oh fuck, there's a person there. I better protect my ribcage."
I don't think there's any malice in it, but like he definitely. It's not like it's a pretty. I would like. I thought 3 would be maybe fair, just because the dude was totally out cold. So I think he was at least. So
I thought he was sort of okay.
Or maybe he walked on the field. I can't remember, but I think 3 would have been fair.
Like think about Braden Maynard, who ended the career of poor guy name I'm forgetting.
Angus Brayshaw.
Angus Brayshaw.
He wiped his name from the memory of everyone with that bump.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He got exactly 0 consequences for that.
That was just insane.
Yeah. And I think this is almost in response to that, saying that they've clamped down on the ability to weasel out of those kinds of getting away with that kind of act.
Okay.
Like if you knock someone out these days, you're gone. Like doesn't matter how incidental it was. Like what if scenario? What if someone like kicked a footy into someone else's face and that knocked them out?
That's happened.
Then,
it was at Brisbane, wasn't it?
Apparently, it happened to Jared Witts because he couldn't play last week.
What?
Round before.
Oh no! That's terrible.
I don't think it was for Sharon, but it was he needed to call some sort of tattoo removalist to get the word Sharon taken off his face from that.
Oh my god! Wow.
It was Eric McKenzie. I've just this might be applicable to the draft. I've just put it in our chat, but Eric McKenzie gets a ball kicked right into his head, and he is out cold. So it's happened before.
I don't think they would do that now.
The rugby last
week. You can't rub someone out for kicking a ball.
Kind of defeats the purpose of the sport. All right.
Well,
no, very good. How do we overview? How do you like the Swans? How do you like the Bombers so far this season? Swans look fucking good.
Swans do look good. Swans look like a pretty
God damn it.
complete team. Yeah, it's really annoying. They just, they're such a. I don't know how they do it, but they're just so consistently up there amongst the best teams, and they regenerate
It's really
so
fucking
well.
annoying that the two teams that I hate the most are consistently have been good for over a decade plus.
Yeah.
Like, we had a period of being good, but we've bottomed the fuck out now. And those teams just haven't bottomed out. They've missed the finals maybe once each. And even then, they weren't like bottom of the ladder. They were just like barely missed the finals.
Jazz, can I stop you there? What you're saying right now is like when you hear a boomer complain about how like, yes, they have 3 investment properties, but it's really hard. Okay, like it's stressful having 3 investment properties, right? You know, like it's hard. Like I have it really hard. It's like, Jazz, you had 4 premierships. So, you know, like, you know.
Okay, so I'll never complain about football ever.
Exactly. You can't. Dude. Essendon is the, like, poverty line scar, you know, like. Just,
what's St Kilda then?
They're going all right.
St Kilda is a person who's, like, constantly aspirational but really low class or whatever. Like, you know.
We're going to get a lot of new listeners, and you're definitely going to be cancelled. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, you know, they look like they're going to be like making something of themselves all the time because, like, over our lifetime, they've always been good. They've always been good. Like, really, like over our lifetime, they've been one of the most successful teams, but they just haven't won a premiership. So I don't know. That's my take.
My number 4 moment from the round was that one clip. Did you see it of Harley Reid with his first touch of the game?
Oh, was that along the wing?
Eagles, Giants from the weekend. Yeah, where he went along the wing. He like juked a guy. He like faked a guy out, sold some candy. He went to hand it off. He got the ball back from, I think it was like Elliot Yeo or someone. And then he just got taken out, but he moved the ball. And I think that they might have actually got their first goal from that. So future is bright for Harley Reid and his career. Not so much the West Coast Eagles, who got completely overrun by the Giants. I think they lost by something like 65 points in the end. But it was close for the first, I want to say like quarter.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all watched.
They might have been in for a fight, and then they just the GWS just knocked him out, and then just kept pummeling them. As has happened.
It is so much more fun watching. Like, if I was a West Coast Eagles supporter, it's so much more fun watching a game when you've got like a next great hope of your team. And someone like Harley Reid is like, it makes you want to like watch games because you're like, okay, this guy's awesome. And yes,
you can see his rise.
Exactly. Yeah. And he is an awesome player. He's like just one of those players who immediately you can see, this guy is number one for a reason. He's like, you know, maybe not quite level up someone like Matt Rao, like when he came on, but like still really, really skilled. And
really? I think he's had more hype than Matt Rao.
He had more hype. I feel like
Matt Rao exploded with his first game.
He was like Chris Judd level in his first 3 games, and then got some cruel ass injury. But
but also Harley Reid has been rested in both games, sort of in the second half. So I feel like he could have done more. But I know what you mean. He's no like Harry Sheezel, who just like from the second he hit the football field, he was just like elite.
Yeah, but he's really eye catching. His skills are just so. He's amazing. I wonder how he'd be going, but maybe even better in like a better team. So anyway,
Good well, he's hoping he has an exodus out of West Coast to Hawthorn after 1 year. What's his name in Port Adelaide?
Yeah, Jason Horn-Francis. The other one that was pretty good, Sam Taylor in defense for the Giants, played really well. Kieran Briggs played really well for the Giants. I personally think the Giants are the best team in the league.
At the moment, yeah.
They have had
it's early.
Yeah, I think they've had a fairly favourable schedule, though, because they played North Melbourne last week. And
so they played the last 2, the bottom 2 teams.
Yeah, but then they played Collingwood as well, and they smashed them. So.
Well, but Collingwood might be shit this year. We don't know.
I hope so.
I think there's every reason to believe like they're a really good team this year, but like it's they're off to a good start, but really like this is just like building a base. It's like, do you think like is it sustainable? Like they've got a good game plan. It'll be so interesting to see where things are at in like say 10 rounds time. But at the moment they do look great. They've started the season like on fire, and I think what was it? So there was an article in a paper the other day that was Lee Matthews was talking about how Collingwood last year weren't a great team, like they were good or something, but they weren't great because his argument was that great teams beat other teams by great margins. Like they don't just beat them, but they smash them like repeatedly. And that's what GWS is doing the start of this year is every single team they played this year, they have really comfortably beaten them. Not just like, scraping in wins and stuff, but they've smashed them and they'll smash so many other teams too. So, yeah.
And they're on bye this week, so we won't even actually know. We don't get another look at them.
Yeah.
Until
you gotta love opening round of AFL where they're already having buys.
I hate it. And then round 4, they play the Gold Coast Suns, which is where I'm going to go now.
Yeah.
My number 3 moment from the round. I wanted to say, like, it's somewhere between Cody Waitman kicking 6 goals, but I was sort of like, it's kind of like more of a flash in the pan.
Oh, it's
I don't know if you guys watch. I don't know if you guys watched the Dogs Suns game. Did you see the matchup of Matt Rao versus Tom Liberatore? I felt like a kid again watching Dragon Ball Z and watching like Goku versus like Freezer or something. They were fucking going at it all day, even like late into the 4th quarter.
It was they were still it was
in contact. They were like just attacking each other. At one point I was like, they really hate each other, but no, they're just two like really physical guys who want to win.
Lipper would definitely get on my nerves, I feel like, if he was tagging me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
No, he'd tell you like Simpsons jokes and put you at ease. So all those tattoos.
I feel like you'd tell him Simpsons jokes by like making fun of his tattoos on his arms.
Maybe. That is like because that's 2 different generations. Like Libber is in his early 30s. He's probably got maybe a couple of years left. Whereas Rao's like, Libber's pretty old.
Well, he was young in 2016. Now he's old.
He was, yeah.
You're right.
But they are like 2 really, really tough dudes, like such in and under inside midfield players. So it wouldn't surprise me them having a massive, biff during play. So
felt like just every contest they were just so physical with each other. It was great to see. So Waitman kicked 4 goals in the first quarter and then 6 goals for the game. Sam Darcy as well, son of Luke Darcy, also looked quite good. He kicked 2 goals. Bont was really good as usual. Bailey Humphrey didn't play. Jared Witts didn't play as well. They were late.
Jared Witts is a big out. Not just for the Suns, but my super coach team.
Just for your fantasy.
Yeah.
And yet, for fantasy, bloody English didn't tear him up. I mean, he did all right, but not for super
I had him kick a goal, and he did not. Hey, side note, Jasper, you know how we were at the Hawks D's game, and I was complaining about my multi to you with Christian Salem not getting 20 disposals because he had like 4 to half time, was it?
Yeah.
He actually got 20 disposals.
Oh, did he? There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, he hit it. That was insane. He must have had 16 disposals in the second half. That's crazy. Anyway, enough of that, my gambling problem.
Okay, no, my question with the Bulldogs is have they got their bite back?
No.
So last week I called them one-dimensional because I thought they were really one-dimensional against the D's. This week I would say they were multi-dimensional. They definitely had...
They added a dimension.
They added multiple dimensions. I was impressed.
2D or 3D? Like, or have they come into 4D?
Well,
do they scale?
Or was it just the fact that the Gold Coast Suns returned to the Gold Suns that we all know and love?
Yeah, that's what
is that more like?
Is that Gold Coast aren't actually going to be that good this year.
I wish you wouldn't say that.
I wish it wasn't true.
Get teary-eyed thinking about it. No, but also like Bulldogs had to win that game.
Every year, every season we build it up, and by round 3, it's just crushed.
I mean, it could just be a Ballarat stadium thing. Who knows? Like maybe they would have played better at Marvel.
Yeah, that's what someone was saying, that they need to have their if they play finals, they
need to play at Ballarat. Yeah,
play to Ballarat. They're like a sure thing to win.
And also, like Gold Coast will win a lot of games at Carrara, but they might lose
the stadium, the fortress.
Yeah.
That's true. Wasn't that like their thing, is they won all their games at home, but they lost all their games away or something like that last year?
So, yeah. I think, they might struggle away, but hopefully they win enough to get in. It'll be lovely to see Gold Coast in like 7th or 8th or something.
Lovely. My number 2 moment from the round, it has to be the Jack Higgins and the Saints, who played very well against the Pies, I must say. Saints are looking good despite their loss round 1 against the Cats. Jack Higgins scoring a remarkable goal from the boundary line.
I'm curious about what's your number 1, if that's not it, because that was one of the best goals. That might be my goal of the year, just context and everything.
Has to be. And Jasper, I said this to you at the time, how pissed off it makes me feel. I get very irate. I'm getting irate right now thinking about it. BT would rather comment on how he thinks the ball's out of bounds, and let's spend much time as we can thinking, wow, gee, I thought that ball was out of bounds. It's like, BT, it wasn't called out of bounds, and it's a great fucking goal. Probably going to be goal of the fucking year. Can you get over it and just talk about how good that fucking goal was? I'm so sick of him being like, no, but I thought it was out of bounds. It's like,
I don't know why they can talk about that, but get the excitement around the goal first, and then when the replays, it would come back and say, oh, actually, I thought that was out of bounds. On the replay, it looks like it may be out, whatever. But get the excitement going for a game-sealing great goal.
Yeah.
I generally find BT a buzzkill.
Commentary is going to be around how BT thought it was out. Like, they're going to play the commentary, and it's just going to be him going like, no, it was out. It was out of bounds.
Yeah. I feel like BT gets more excited about outrage than he does about the game.
Absolutely. He loves an umpire mistake.
Or umpire mistake, or maybe players getting a bit like touchy over something. He wants
to be out of the ground punching umpires again.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like he's a bully. Like he just like focuses on someone's like, shortcoming or something and just zeroes in and it's like, yeah, that's, the thing I'm going to commentate on. And it's like, it is just such a pain in the ass when people do focus so much on that stuff, because it was an amazing kick and like it should go pretty close to goal of the year. Like on the boundary, right foot, wrong side for a right footer and kicks the goal. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah. And it was in bounds. Like it doesn't matter. Like it was a great goal.
Yeah.
So that was my number 2. Other takeaways from the game. So Saints look good. Mason Wood did get knocked out early. I think that's going to be a big loss for the Saints as well. He's one of their key defenders. Okay. I've got to talk about probably who I think is going to be the most underrated player, at least for the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera has been freaking awesome in in both games that he's played. I know he's only played 2 games. 25 disposals round 1 against the Cats, which is good. 32 disposals against the Pies, which is also really good. He's been playing out of the backfield. He's been absolutely electric. He's single-handedly taken over the game.
Dude, he's you speak to Saints fans and they have known this for a year or so, that he's elite, and
he was very good in the second half of last year as well, I felt like.
And he's just one of those players, you watch him and he's like, his decision making and his ability to like execute like a really just amazing kick, like whether it's on an angle or whether it's just to a player in a better position, is just so good. It's actually one of those things where you look at the Saints and you're like, maybe their list is slightly better than I think it is. And
I think it's nice.
You like Philippou, Owens, Wanganeen-Milera. Like they've got a few really, really talented young players, like King, heaps there.
Yeah, Membry's still playing really well. Bradley Hill, been playing on the wing. He's been playing well. Seb Ross, I think, has been a bit down, but Rowan Marshall, their ruckman, one of the best. Josh Battle in defense. They're sort of like all coming together now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to see that. Love to see the Pies 0-3 as well. But it is my number one moment from the round. It is Tom Stewart celebrating his 150th game in Adelaide, equaling the 10.
That's your number one.
10
150th.
He was insane. He was the best player of the round. There was no better player than Tom Stewart. It's not that it's his 150th. That's fine. That's just like icing on the cake. It was the 10 intercept marks and just like the performance. He had like something like 650 meters gained. He had 26 disposals. He led everyone in disposals for the Cats. He was awesome. And he's like, you watch the replays, you watch the highlights. He's just shutting down the Crows left, right, and center. Every time they tried to send it in, he'd just be like, oh, thanks. Ball's back in my favor again.
There was a bit of commentary around that, apparently a lot of coaches and, teams have just been instructed when playing against Geelong, like, basically, your number one rule is just don't kick it to Tom Stewart or anywhere near him. And then the rest of your actual offensive thing goes underneath that, because it's just such a pain in the ass, because he will read the ball better than any of your players and mark the ball every single time. It's like the same with, players like Harris Andrews or, maybe used to be Darcy Morris, players who just read the ball really well and better than your team will, or better than the other team will. And Adelaide just, bombed the ball in, and he's just going to mark it every single time. So he's a super player.
What's funny about that, him getting the 10 intercept marks as a record, it's actually the 12th time that's ever been done. It's never been surpassed. It's been done 12 times, and no one's done 11 times.
No one's had 13. It's also an unlucky number.
What I thought was really funny was, so the commentary pre-game, they were sort of building up how the Crows going to shut down Tom Stewart. Apparently, Matthew Nix had decided he was going to send Luke Pedler to Tom Stewart to shut him down. And it basically lasted all of a half of football, and the commentators are just like, okay, so it's not working. He's just not shutting him down at all. He's getting completely destroyed out there. So what else have you got? And they had no answer.
It is...
Yes, okay.
I think, you can have plans to shut someone down, but he is just that good. He is an incredible... He's only played 150 games, which is wild. So he entered into the system pretty late, but he is an incredible player. He's so consistent. And I think reading the play is one of the most undersold aspects of the game. And someone like him, or Jazz, you mentioned last week, like Luke Hodge, players that you could be you just know, what's going to happen before it happens, and you can just plant yourself in the right spot every time.
Just a quick shout out as well to Graham Myers, who kicked 3 goals for the Cats. He played really, really well. I think he had 26 disposals as well, which is good for him. Yes. And Rory Laird, 29 disposals. I think Matt Crouch had in the 30-somethings as well. Sean Manor kicked his first goal for the Cats as well, which was really good to see. I'm liking our list, man. I think we're back. I think we're...
How did you change in 12 months? You were so despondent about the Cats last year. Now you're back?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So top to bottom, I actually went back and looked at our list, and top to bottom, I actually think we don't have as many holes as I thought we did. The key is, and this has been backed up by some Fox Footy stats as well, in defense, we need to always have Tom Stewart, Jack Henry, someone like Mark Blitzarves or Mitch Duncan back there. We need to have not so much Zach Tui anymore. There's a group of 4 or 5 defenders that all need to be there. And when they're there, we basically win games. And when they're not all together as a foursome or fivesome or whatever, then that's when it sort of all falls apart for us, which is what happened last year. We had so many 100-point games scored on us.
So what you're saying is that when you have essentially a full team, you're very good. Which is like, that's like lots of teams, even if they had a full team, wouldn't be that good. But
but there's not as many holes as I thought there were. Plus, a lot of our younger guys have actually stepped up playing really well. Like Ollie Dempsey in the first game, he kicked 3 goals, which no one expected. Jai Clark has been playing really well as well. He's only been around for like a handful of games. Ollie Henry's still playing really well. Sam de Koning in the backfield as well, playing well. Zach Guthrie in the backfield as well. It's like when Zach Guthrie plays well, we play well. Brandon Parfitt also, just quickly shout out Brandon Parfitt on the weekend. He had 10 tackles. He came in because Tom Atkins was a late out. I think he got injured in pre-game warm-up. Parfitt came in and he was like a one-to-one replacement, which has not been the case with Brandon Parfitt. So I was impressed. I'm now more bullish on Geelong than I was.
So are they making the final?
Yeah.
I reckon I'll be thereabouts. I feel like Geelong will finish at like, I reckon like 7th or 8th. Yeah. Okay. That's my read on Geelong at the moment. Pretty like good, but I feel like some of the stuff that's been shown by other teams.
Yeah, but if you had to say right now, who are the better teams? For me, I'd say Giants, Swans, and Port Adelaide, definitely.
Yeah.
It's too early in the season to say. For me, I am never confident saying who's a good team.
We're calling it now.
No, but like what you're asking for is a bit of a power ranking right now, right? Like we have the ladder, but obviously that's off because we have this ridiculous.
I think that's it. And then Geelong, I'd say 5. I would say they're 5. I'd say Giants, Swans, Port, D's, Cats.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. I think maybe. I feel like Bulldogs, if they put it all together, look pretty good. Freo looks pretty good right now.
Freo are fake. Freo are fake news. They're not real.
Why?
Because both of their games, they went on a run of like 8 or 9 goals scored. But like the first half, they were just completely absent. Right, but the Lions are playing like shit, and North Melbourne are shit. So.
Well, but then you're rating GWS up high, and they've beaten West Coast and North.
Yeah. I know what you mean, but I think that but I think that the Giants have a more complete list, and they're on the ascension as opposed to the Lions, who have been up there for a long time, and I feel like they're sort of now maybe coming down.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions look shit ass.
I think they'll get it together.
Look shit at the start of every game.
I don't think they're a top 4 team anymore. Yeah.
Freo look shit, and then the last 2/3 of the game, they look awesome. So,
yeah, I think, the top 4 or 5 or 4 or so teams seem like at the moment that's probably the top 4 teams in the competition. But I think Geelong is definitely up there because especially they've still got like Cameron's still such a good player, Hawkins is still pretty good, Dangerfield's still pretty good. Like all their players who've been really awesome for a long time are still pretty good. So I think as long as you got those guys around, even if your younger players are like good without being great, like you'll still be like very competitive against basically everyone. So.
Last thing I will say, so check out this schedule we've got. It's brutal. So we play the Hawks this weekend, and then we play the Bulldogs and North Melbourne. So we need to win all 3 of those games because then we'll be 5-0, because then we play Brisbane in Brisbane, Carlton, Melbourne, Port Adelaide. Then we play Gold Coast. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. Then we play Giants. Then Richmond and Sydney. And then Carlton again. So it's like we've just got this brutal run coming up. So we have to be 5-0 in order to, I think, maybe be like 6-5 come round 11. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I think, it almost feels like Geelong will probably play finals this year. Like this, that's such a they've done a good enough start to the year. They look like they've improved enough. But I think it could come down to the wire. It's going to be such a close like race from like 5 to about 15 or so, I reckon.
All right. Well, Jasper, we'll start with some trivia.
All right. So this week is Travis Boak's 350th game.
Mm-hmm. That was last week.
No.
Yes. On the weekend.
Yeah, sorry. He just played his 350th game. Sorry, is what I meant to say. He's the 23rd person to reach that milestone.
Mm.
This isn't the trivia question, but it relates to it. What draft was he in?
Oh, he was in the Hawkins draft, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's born in 1988, so it would have been the 2006 draft.
That is correct. 2006 draft. So we are going through the top 10 of the 2006 AFL draft.
It's going to hit me in the feels because this was the draft where we got a number 2 pick, and we got good old Gumbleton. So
that is correct. Scott Gumbledon, number 2.
Old mate Gumbleton. Where is he now?
He
retired a long time ago.
You know what? He's probably just sitting down because if he walks more than about 10 meters, his hamstring's going to tear. So
Oh my God.
he just repeatedly tore his hamstring and got back injuries his whole career. So it was awful.
God.
Sorry, Jazz, what was your question?
The top 10 from the 2006 AFL draft.
Yeah, so I'm guessing, like, I want to say Jack Rewalt was number 1, but why would Tigers have the first pick?
No.
It's incorrect. So he is in the 2006 draft, but he was 13th.
So
13?
Wow.
13?
I know. 13.
Where was
Hawkins was later because he was a father-son.
He was, and this was when the one were doing their dodgy
like,
father-son. They could just take him round 5 or whatever.
Fuck, yeah, okay.
So the first pick of that draft was part of I believe it was the Bryce Gibbs Cup. So it was Bryce Gibbs is number 1.
That is correct.
Yeah, because Essendon played.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
I'm old.
Essendon played Carlton late in the year and was termed the Bryce Gibbs Cup because we were both terrible that year. So yeah.
This is where, it's bad because you remember the hype around someone getting drafted and then you've seen their whole career and now they're done.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're old in footy watching.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Bryce Gibbs was a pretty super player for a while for Carlton. Like,
he was. No. I'm saying like there's some other players who have played a very long.
Yeah. Like the fact that I'm clinging to Hawkins still being in the league. Like I need him to not retire, otherwise then I'll feel really old.
So we've got,
true.
We've got 2 players. We got the first 2. We got 8 more to go. Let me know if you need some hints.
I definitely need hints.
Are we going in order, or can we?
No. Just throw out names. Yeah. Just throw out names.
Selwood?
That is correct.
Really, was Selwood top 10?
He was number 7. Hawthorn had pick number 6. Do we remember who the Hawks picked?
Was
number
it
6
in 2006?
Bit of a fig jam, apparently.
Oh yeah, 2000.
Told Nathan Buckley that he's gonna be better than him. I think something like that.
Great. Oh wow.
His surname is a type of football kick, kind of.
Banana. Center hat. Jack Banana.
You're close.
Oh,
you're close.
Torpedo.
Yeah,
Thorpe.
close.
Someone's Thorpe.
Yeah, Mitch Thorpe.
He said he was going to be better than Nathan Buckley.
Or someone very good. I can't remember specifically who, but that was the story at the time. Number 3 is, I'll give you the teams. Kangaroos selected pick number 3. He was a key backman.
Yes. Yeah, I know this guy. Was it Lockie?
He makes me want to go. Yes, I was going to say he makes me want to go. Bop.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there should be an obvious one. This isn't in order, but there should be an obvious one given the nature of this question. Why am I asking this question?
Hawks player.
Because Travis Boak's 350th.
Travis.
He was 5. Okay.
He was 5. All right. So we still got pick 4 for Brizzy, and pick 8 for Collingwood, pick 9 for St Kilda, and pick 10.
Was Collingwood Pendlebury?
That was 2005. That's a great guess though. 2006. Collingwood, I reckon Collingwood was it like Nathan Brown or one of those key backs?
Correct. That is
was it?
He was pick 10.
Oh, okay, all right. Was it Ben Reid?
That is the other pick, yes. So you got both of them. Yeah. So just pick 9 St Kilda and pick 4 for Brisbane.
I'm trying to think of Brisbane.
David Armitage.
No. Oh, sorry. Yes, for St Kilda. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah. I can't believe I got that.
And Eddie, you should also get the pick number 4 because there is an Essendon link here.
And who they play for?
They were drafted by Brisbane.
Was it Matthew Leuenberger?
It was indeed the Bergs. Matthew Leuenberger.
He was like, I remember.
He's got all 10 of those.
He did indeed.
So my specialty knowledge area is the 2006 AFL draft. It's so great because, like, obviously Essendon got nothing out of that. So
yeah, all right. I won't go. I mean, I just want to see how many you can go in, but I'll just see. Essendon's next pick was pick 18. Do you remember who that was?
18 in 2006.
He was a priority pick, apparently.
Really?
It's a famous AFL name.
There weren't 18 teams back then.
Oh, was it someone Reynolds, like Joel Reynolds or something?
No. Much more modern AFL name, still relevant to this day. Not the player, but the surname, family.
Oh, Watson? No. 2006.
Drafted from WA. The player's from WA.
Oh, Rioli? No. I think I'm out of ideas.
Leroy Jetta. There we go. We stumped you with an Essendon player as well.
Yeah.
But you got the top 10, and that was the question. So you nailed it.
Sick.
There we go.
Yeah, it's my wheelhouse. John, I'm so excited for your clip. Please.
Are we going to bring it in now? Or Eddie, do you want to kick off rules of the world? Do you have something you want to lean into first, or we'll go straight to my one?
I think that no. You know what? I'll go first.
Yeah,
I think I'll walk you through. So, okay. Over the last week, we have had a bit of news, obviously, around, Peter Wright and this obsession with, like, Essendon being unsociable on the field and how we were mean to the Swans players or we were, like, rough with them. It's like, come on, guys. This is a football match, right? Anyway.
And they're a very amicable, respectable side, too.
Exactly, right? And, gosh, they gave as good as they got. But what I'm saying is that I think footy has gone soft. And my solution to this is forget your, like, tame PC AFL. I'm talking about badass FL. And this is actually going to be either like an expansion of the AFL or just our own thing altogether. Like, I don't know whether you guys have heard of the enhanced games, but it's going to be kind of like that. And so what I want is that the oval on a football field becomes entirely lawless for the 2 hours from when the whistle is blown. So anything goes. And players are allowed to bump as much as they want with no consequences. All players sign a waiver for their health. So the increased pay due to, like, more eyes on the screens globally will offset any desire to leave. So I'm talking tens of millions of dollars. Literally anything goes on this field. And, like, I don't want to stop there. I want swearing in the commentary. I want swearing on the banners. I want streakers encouraged naked, maybe, on the field. And I think that everyone should be allowed to abuse the umpire because then the umpire can just abuse you back. Like, this is AFL turned up to 11 and it's going to, like, blow everyone's mind. And, like, this AFL is going to seem like a backwater of, like, political correctness gone mad. So, okay, what's your thoughts?
I feel like I say this every week, but I think this is your best idea yet. Tassie may have had 150,000 startup members, but this league will no doubt have triple that amount on startup, I think.
Easily. So you a fan of badass FL?
I mean, I would like to workshop the name a little bit. But...
No. So the name's perfect. The name's perfect. Here's why. It's the BAFL. So it's the battle.
Yeah.
And the battle. You'll be baffled.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds confusing to watch.
Yeah. There's, like, just...
Well, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. You could get someone, like, you could get two players fighting to the death. Like,
I mean, it sounds like the Hunger Games with a Sharon.
Yeah, there's no like weapons or anything. It's just all you got is like, players on the field sharing footy.
Goes.
Well, anything
goes two guns.
Anything goes with your bare hands, right? So you could do whatever you want, right? Like you can
no props.
Yeah, you can give someone a wedgie. Like you can do whatever you want. So I think
what do runners do? I feel like runners could do something fun in this. They should have a part to play. Maybe Travis Cloak can like fully like tackle people out of them and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Your runners actually become extra players when you want them.
They're not allowed to touch the ball, but they can like enforce. They can hip and shoulder. They can tackle.
Yeah.
The runners are like the coaches in a boxing match when you like go to sit down for a break and they're like talking in your ear about how you're doing.
Patting your eye.
Yeah. And just what I was like thinking of was like how great would it if the commentators were allowed to like swear regularly during the broadcast or something. Really,
I don't know why that's not a thing already on some like internet radio. We should do that. We should just live call a game.
And just like you got to drop the
F. Jesus Christ! I mean, imagine our reaction to the goal is to kill the goal. Fuck! What a goal! Smash those cunts up.
Yeah, exactly. So like, really, like you're able to properly get into it, and you just like
that's how I could probably get into things. Is just fucking swear my fucking head off.
You got to like. Are you truly yourself? Yeah, that's right. So I think so getting swearing into the game, I think that'd be good. And like imagine like you hear the umpire, like someone's questioning the call and he's like, fuck off, mate.
Fuck off, you prick.
It'll like, it'll be like what it will be like, in the 90s when South Park came out and everyone was like, whoa, they're like swearing all the time and all this kind of stuff. It'll be like, like parents will try and get their kids to not watch this version of AFL, but the kids will like turn it on by themselves in their rooms with their like little
all their devices these days.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I like that you're focusing on the swearing and not the absolute bashing that's going to be happening on the field. It's going to be full of talking about suburban footy players. It's going to be teams of 22 players built like a brick shit house who are just like wandering, not great athletes, but just looking for a chance to punch on.
They all look like they've done like 10 years in Pentridge or
That'll be, I mean, that's what the prison colours are in Australia, is that like dark green that Tassie's just got. So that'll be the first.
Yeah.
The first team's colours will just be that prison green.
Like, you're still going to kick a winning score, right? You still have quarter time.
There'll be like 3 goals to 1 and like 8 penalties.
4 quarters? Just 1 quarter.
Well, if you have enough players that have survived the 4 quarters.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan. Count me in.
Cheers.
No, very good, Eddie. Very good. So
baffle.
I wanted to baffle. You'll be baffled. I wanted to bring a clip that had come in from Talk Show Radio today. Now, I talked about it earlier, the Jack Higgins goal. It was a spectacular goal. It was probably in contention for goal of the year. There's been a couple of goals as well, though. There have been sort of like it looked like the ball went out of bounds, but it wasn't called. There was another one, I think it was by like the West Coast Eagles last week as well, where it was like clearly out of bounds, but the umpire didn't have the line. Well, there's actually a solution to this problem where we think the ball is out of bounds, but it's not actually. And you're probably thinking of chip technology, but it's not actually chip technology. This one SDN caller, or might have been what are the other ones? Freaking
AFL Nation or something, or
AFL Nation, whatever. Called in.
Yeah, I got no idea.
I think they have the solution. Let's give it a listen.
Good morning, Kane and King. I've got a solution for it. Why don't they just push the boundary line out further by 0.5 metre?
Would we not have the same issue though?
Well, you wouldn't have had. Hey, Kingy, before you start laughing, mate, it would have fixed last night's problem and the chap's problem last week with the West Coast. If they pushed the boundary line out by half a metre, they would have been legitimate goals. Yeah. Good morning, Trina and Kingy. I've got a solution for it.
What do we think, guys?
like
So to solve this problem, why not? We don't need a chip in the ball. Why not just fucking push the boundary line out further?
Dude, like, there's an obvious solution here that is the logical conclusion of this. That's get rid of the boundary line altogether. Just have the goalpost up against the fence. And it's like Jack Higgins literally physically could not be able to kick the ball if he went outside of those bounds. So
why not make it so you can kick a goal from the stands? If the ball goes out, just go in, pick up the ball.
Yes.
There's no out of bounds. The players just keep playing right into the stands.
Yeah. It starts in the middle, but then it can go out of the actual
it can go wherever. It ends up on the fourth tier. There's only one ball, so when a player kicks the ball up and it goes way out of bounds, they've got to go get it. There's no throw-ins. There's no nothing.
I'd like to be like chasing Serong Ma.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you kick the ball out of, say, like the Giants stadium, you could be running onto a road with like two players, like trying to get the ball to go back inside the field of play.
It's like golf. You just play it where it lands.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is it's a very lateral thinker. This guy, he's coming into.
Before
he's so lateral. He's on his side asleep.
All right, excellent. That was the new rules that we're thinking for this week. Let's get into the round for Easter Bunny round. We're going to start Thursday night with, as I mentioned earlier, the 0-2 Lions take on the 0-3 Collingwood Magpies at the Gabba. Lions are 16-point favourites.
Are we already calling this the Levi Ashcroft Cup, or is that going too early?
Any thoughts on a winner?
I got no idea who's going to win this. I'm going to say Brisbane just because it's up there.
Yeah.
I'm on the Pies. I think the Pies win this.
Yeah, okay. They played better against the Saints than they had the couple of weeks before, but I think Brisbane up there and Brisbane against Carlton, like they're really, like they really should have won that game. So I think Brisbane will come back. Really. I think Brisbane will win this game, and that would be crazy because that would mean Collingwood 0-4. So I think Brisbane wins this game, though. I think they've got enough.
Yeah, I mean. Feels like whoever loses this game is not making the 8, is how it feels to me.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
Wow. All right. Friday afternoon will be.
How good is it having footy on a Friday?
Yeah.
On Good Friday. It was shit house having no footy on a Friday. Back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, you could call this a football game. It's North Melbourne playing, so
unfortunately we had to deal with North getting absolutely thrashed every Friday, but so much so that they got the Bulldogs somehow got the game taken off them for winning by too much, I guess. But now it's North.
2 games. So first game will be North and Carlton. So I'm picking. I think Blues win this game.
Oh, you think?
I do think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they're something like 30-point favourites.
I don't think it's going to be like North were. I
think North are good, though.
Pretty decent. I actually wouldn't be surprised if North are better than Hawthorn this year.
Yes. So Carlton are 33-point favourites, but North were good last week, and North have got some really, really talented players now.
Yes.
So I'm picking.
But not talented enough to be Carlton.
And I don't like Carlton, so I'm picking North Melbourne to win this game.
Wow. Oh my God. We're going to screen grab this for next week. If this comes true, that would be a huge miracle. and that'd be so great. I'd love to see.
I mean,
Carlton.
it would be good for Easter, right? Miracles do happen. So
It wouldn't just be Good Friday; it'd be Great Friday. Yeah.
Can I take this up all year where I just pick any team that's playing Carlton and just pick the opposite?
yeah. Eventually,
right a lot.
No, I think North Melbourne might win this game.
I feel like Carlton will win this. I
Carlton's going to win this handily.
I feel like possibly Carlton could not just win this, but win this by a lot. Just because North no key defenders, basically, and Carlton has.
Excuse me, Harry Sheasel would like a word.
He's a defender, but he's not a key defender.
No, and he actually plays more in the mid.
Yeah, and I just I think if North is somehow able to smash Carlton in the centre, I reckon they could have a chance. But I think if Carlton even get a sniff out of the centre, they will absolutely annihilate North. But just because of their key forwards, I reckon Charlie Curnow could kick like 7 or 8 goals. So
okay. I was just looking at North's defense, and I think you're right. Okay, I don't think North wins this game.
How much can we flip flop on one tip?
I'm looking at their defense. It is bad. It's Aiden Carr, never heard of him. Toby Pink, never heard of him. Callum Dawson and Bailey Scott, never heard.
It's one in the pink, two in the car.
And Harry Cheever. Luke McDonald, who played his first game last week and had 9 disposals. But North have got a good midfield and at forwards.
I agree.
Forward, Charlie Lazaro, Clarkey, Zane Dersma looked good last week. Paul Curtis kicked 4 goals. Jai Simpkin in the middle, Luke Davies-Uniacke, and Tom Powell. So Tom Powell is, I talked about already Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera. Tom Powell is the other completely flying under the radar player. So watch out for him. And George Wardlaw, I think he got another Rising Star nomination last week as well. So there's optimism for Melbourne.
I will watch it. I'm up for this Good Friday clash.
Yeah. The second Good Friday clash is in Perth. It is Freo and the Crows. The 2-0 Freo Dockers, the 0-2 Adelaide Crows.
Oof, God, this is actually a pretty big game.
Freo is 12.5-point favourites.
Yeah, I'm liking Freo.
Adelaide,
yeah, I'm not. I think the Crows win this.
It's going to be a really interesting game because Crows actually have a bit on the line. Like they just signed Matthew Nicks to another contract, and they, they put their eggs in that basket, and they put their Easter eggs in that basket, and staying on theme, and really like everyone hyped them up over the off season. Like they have a few key position players really well, regarded. I think their midfield is like young, if not, they're not great yet, but they're young. And I don't know. I think I reckon Freo will get up in this too. I reckon Freo win this just because their midfield is just so good. I think when they're going well. So like Serong and Brayshaw and stuff.
Yeah, so Serong is playing lights out at the moment. He's killing it. And then they've got Brayshaw and Nat Fyfe. But Crows midfield, Rory Laird, Jordan Dawson, and Matt Crouch, studs.
Yeah.
Although I think I saw Matt Crouch actually might be going for surgery this week. I think I saw.
It's gonna be Matt Crouch.
So I just think like the Crows. So and then after this game, I think the Crows are playing 3 games in a row in Adelaide because gather round's coming up. So Freo's defense, I want to say they've been good, but they haven't because they gave up a run of 8 goals to Brisbane and then they kicked goals in a row to get back in the game against North Melbourne. So whereas Adelaide, they played their first game against the Gold Coast Suns in that torrential rain game, and then they played Geelong, who are the best team in the world, last week. So I just feel like this is a good matchup for a bounce-back spot for the Crows to get their first win, even though it is on the road, which I don't love.
Fair call.
So who are we saying? You're saying Adelaide?
I'm going to go Adelaide, man. I'm going to go Adelaide.
Ed, who are you saying?
I think they get it together.
Freo. Yeah.
Okay, Saturday day game will be between the Bombers and the Saints at Marvel Stadium.
Go Dons.
Both teams' homes.
I'll be at this game, so
Saints are 9.5-point favorites.
Yeah,
I'm going Saints.
I would go the Saints as well.
Who are you actually are you tipping Saints in, or are you tipping Essendon?
I do feel like we match up relatively well to the Saints in recent years.
That's what I think.
You know what? I think Peter Wright out of the team, he's like good for like 3 goals a week. I reckon without him, Saints will be able to get the ball out of our 50 relatively easily. I reckon they will win by like 4 or 5 goals. Yeah, that's my tip.
I think it'll be close. I just think Sinclair is back in the lineup. He's been playing well last week. Josh Battle playing well. Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera. Marcus Windhager as well has been playing really well coming in. And then Rowan Marshall for their ruck is in a good spot against, what do you got like now? Todd Goldstein and Sam Draper?
Mate, they're pretty good. I reckon it's actually interesting because...
I don't rate either of them.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I think Sam Draper might just be one of those players that Essendon fans rate. But I think we reckon he's good. The only thing you'd find about Ryan Marshall, is that he doesn't actually win that many hitouts. What he does is like get possessions around the ground and kicks a couple of goals, which I think if we got 2 ruckmen, I reckon we can maybe cover him. But I reckon Wanganeen-Milera is going to cut us up, and that's where we're going to lose the game because we lose games in transition, and Saints have a pretty good transition game right now, and I don't think we'll have anything to combat that. So that's my concern.
The pieces that I like for the Bombers are, I love Jade Gresham. He's like one of my favorite players to watch right now. Will Setterfield, very good, and Andrew McGrath, I think are your players. I'm worried about Ben Mackay. He's been shithouse. And
the first week, I feel like he was pretty good. I think second week, in the first week against the Hawks, I think Mitch Lewis scored 1 goal. I think
Mitch Lewis has not started the year well.
Yeah, so maybe he had an easy kill.
Yeah,
but I think
10 disposals and 9 disposals.
Yeah, but
I think Dyson Heppel and Andrew McGrath are making him look good, and Nick Barton's been okay, but Nick High and Jaden Laverde is a bit questionable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're missing like maybe 3 or 4 out of our regular back 6. So I think
and then they're going to come up against Max King, Tim Membry, Jack Higgins, and Mitch Owens, who I think is going to have a good game. So yeah, that's a tough one because I want to tip the Bombers, but they're just.
No, I think the Saints have got us. I reckon they're
looking exciting. I think you have Darcy Parish coming back though.
Yeah. I think we will win the clearances and the contested possessions relatively easily. I just think that they'll rebound off halfback constantly and be able to score lots of goals. That's my concern at least. And I tell you what,
if this game were played in the second half of the year, I think the Bombers would win, but because it's the first half of the year for the Saints, they usually play really well.
Yeah,
so,
maybe.
Yeah, you got them at a bad time.
Yeah.
All right. The Saturday night game, primetime, will be Port Adelaide and the D's. I think this will be the best game of the round.
It's a good game.
In Adelaide. Now, keep in mind, Stephen May is out, as well as Jake Weaver is out. So Port have been scoring hard on teams as well. I mean, they've had 2 pretty reasonably easy matchups. I think they played the Eagles week 1, and then round 2 last week they played the Tigers, who were pretty competitive, I got to say. But man, I think Port have got such a complete team.
Yeah, Port and in Adelaide. If it was in Melbourne, I might tip Melbourne, but I think the home advantage here gives it to Port.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced by Port yet. I just think Melbourne's midfield is when they play well is just so dominant, and I reckon
Petrarca and Melbourne are just killing everyone.
Yeah, and they've got Gawn and Viney, and I reckon for this game. I reckon Melbourne by like a goal. I think it's going to be so close because Port is a good team, but I think Melbourne's best is better than theirs, but they're missing obviously May and Lever. So I reckon Port in a Melbourne in a very close one, like a goal or under. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the D's defense despite the fact they've had those 2 losses, but Judd McVie has really stepped up, and like I was saying, Christian Salem last week did really well. Trent Rivers is playing really well for D's defense. But having said that, I really like Port Adelaide's sort of more complete team. Like Willem Drew's really stepped up, and then he's playing with Zach Butters, Ollie Wines, and Connor Rozee, and those 4 combination is just, it's so hard to beat. Jeremy Finlayson's been playing really well, so is Todd Marshall at forward. Charlie Dixon's healthy, which is always a problem for all teams. And Aaliyah fullback has been playing really well. Oh, and their recruit, Brandon Zirk Thatcher, he's like reborn again, I feel. He's playing really well.
It's, you know, that often happens with players leaving Essendon as they end up being fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
He was good last week, but I think they were doubling up. So he was on Lynch. So he was like... he was in a good position, but he did well.
Yeah.
Take that now.
The Sunday day game, the Dogs are playing the West Coast Eagles. Sorry, the West Coast Eagles. I think the Dogs are 46-point favourites.
I think the Dogs will win this by 85 points.
Yeah, I think the Dogs by that.
I don't think we need to talk about this game anymore.
No. Bontempelli, like... The Dogs are the team that if you pit them against a crap team, I reckon they'll just demolish them. So,
yeah, they beat up on bad teams. I will say I was on Jack Petricelli watch last week. He didn't kick a goal for me, which I needed him to, but I think he might bounce back. But him and Jamie Cripps have been good forward, but fuck, they need Oscar Allen so bad.
And remember this, that the Eagles actually did beat the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium last year. So,
I mean, they've got to win a game or 2 this year, but... when are you going to tip them to actually win?
Tim Kelly is playing so fucking bad. He is a shell of himself.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
They have also
he'd be on sweet coin though, so not that sad.
Yeah, Jeremy McGovern's been good, but Tom Barras has been really bad. And they've moved Ruben Jinby from the back line to the mids, and he's been okay there. Jaden Hunt has played really well so far. But no, the Dogs are going to absolutely crush them. Adam Treloar is playing fucking awesome at the moment. Libba's playing well. Bonso's playing well. English has not been playing as well, but he's still really good. Dogs have got this new guy called Riley Sanders. No, Riley Sanders. He's a new guy. He's been playing really well as well. So reinforcements on the way. Oh, and Jason Johannesson is one of my favorite defenders right now. Playing really well.
Dogs going to win.
Yeah, we spent too long on that. Okay, 2 games to go. Tigers and Swans. This is like the what is it? The Sunday Eve Easter game. It's like become a tradition, right?
Has it? I mean, it's interesting though because
they play the Sunday twilight game in Easter every year now. Richmond and Sydney. I don't know why it's lined up this way.
I mean, fair enough. Like, but I think it's interesting that it's at 4 p.m. right? Because there's a day off for everyone the next day, and they're playing at 4 p.m. But Sydney will walk this in. Like, they're a good team. They'll beat Richmond pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Sydney, even though it's at the G.
Yeah.
I had Richmond as a bottom 4 team going into the season, but actually they've been really competitive in both their losses. So I'm not quite there anymore, or in all 3 of their losses. Having said that, though, the Swans look so good. Isaac Heaney is like favorite to win the Brownlow at the moment, I'm pretty sure. Or he's up in that tier.
Up in there, yeah. He's got in there. I think Richmond, I think you could be right on both fronts. That I think they could be a decent team, but still finish in the bottom 4. I think it could be one of those years where there's not a team, maybe aside from West Coast, that is just awful. And I reckon Richmond could well win like 7 or 8 games or something and still finish like 14th or 15th or something. So
yeah, because I've been tracking this for my betting. Richmond have 9 players who are injured already who aren't playing from their starting lineup. 9. So they're going to have a tough season ahead.
Yeah.
Chad Warner, really love. Errol Goulding's playing really well. Really love. For the Swans, Joel Marty played well last week. I think that's it. Yeah, Swans going to win. Okay, last game of the round, Hawks and Geelong. Jasper will be at this game. Thank you very much. Very excited. Tom Hawkins, 350th.
Yeah, they'll win. It's not going to be an exciting game. I think, saying that there's no other bad teams. Look, I mean, the Hawks started very poor last year. Again, the first two games, I think we had a losing margin of 10 goals. And then, did we beat Geelong last year? I think we did in the Easter Monday game. Who knows? But, I mean, Hawthorn Geelong is always who knows. But on current form, I can't willingly tip Hawthorn. We just look so far off the pace.
I am going to throw a cat amongst pigeons. I'm going to tip Hawthorn.
Wow.
I think that traditionally, this game is very close and unpredictable. And I obviously just want to make John feel a bit, anxious before this game. So I'm going to tip Hawthorn and say that
you're making me anxious. I typically.
I also want to get Jasper's hopes up.
I did watch them last week.
Huh?
So Cats opened 20-point favorites in the betting markets, and it's now down to 18-point favorites. So people are betting the Hawks to cover.
Or they're betting a close game or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I just having watched the Hawks last week, they looked very we were talking about this at the game. Jack Ginnivan looked really good.
He's been our best player so far this year.
He's easily your best player. Thank Christ he's on your team. Jai Newcomb needs to play better, but it's so hard when everyone around you is so bad. Massimo D'Ambrosio playing really, really, really well.
No,
Josh Weddle playing really well.
Disagree there. He was really good in round one. He was very poor last week. He turned it over 4 or 5 times directly to Melbourne.
He had 23 disposals.
Yeah, but he turned it doesn't matter if you're kicking it right to your opposition, they're getting goals from it.
I don't care if they're effective.
My devil's advocate on this is that I think Hawthorn's a young team and they're going to have up and down weeks. And I reckon in round 1 they were up. Round 2 my explanation is they just had a down week. They got up because they really wanted to beat the Bombers and they just kicked in accurately. They should have won that game. They didn't. And then they came up against Melbourne, who was an organised team, and that threw them. But I reckon Geelong has an awesome forward line and a few really exciting youngsters. But I reckon this game will be exciting and possibly close. And
but this is Hawks forward line. So Mario Troll has been bad. He's like a rental. Nick Watson, he's playing his 3rd game of football. He kicked
0-6 last week, so he's due for a goal.
Nick Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, is this the Wizard?
Yeah. The Wizard of Waverley Place.
Mitch Lewis has not been good so far this season.
He's been very poor. He was a gun last year, and I'm sure he's
and now he has to play one of the better defense. He's probably going to be matched up on Tom Stewart.
Well, he had Sam May and Jake Lever last week, so it was
true. And then Luke Bruce some combination of Luke Bruce and Jack Gunston, they've got to sort it out, man. So
they're both 34-ish years old, so they're not you can't be relying on them.
Yeah. So that is to say, I still think it'll be competitive, but I think the Cats will win this.
Yeah, that is the smart money. I'm purely I'm tipping the Hawks by a point.
You're tipping chaos.
I'm tipping chaos.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. If we win by a point, I will not be on next week's show because I will have died of a heart attack.
But I mean, it's been a close game over the years, right? It's always a bit unpredictable, isn't it?
Less so more recently.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Last year wasn't good. Yeah.
That is going to do it for another episode. We've gone way over time, but that was a great show.
Woo!
Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the footy ahead. Enjoy the games. Eddie, you'll be at your games. We'll be at our respective games. We'll catch up soon to talk about them. We'll catch you soon.
Oh!